Okay, so in Parshas V'Zos HaBracha, Moshe Rabbeinu passes away, and when he passes away, the way the Yidden react is different to how they react when Aaron passes away. And in Pasuk Ches, it says, "Vayivku b'nei Yisrael es Moshe." The Jews cried for Moshe, Arvei Smayav, Shloshim Yom. That's the verse. And then, if you look in Rashi, it says, "Vayivku b'nei Yisrael," the children of Israel, Hascharim, the males, the men cried. Aval ba'Aaron, but when Aaron passed away, mitaych shahaya roidev shalom, because he would pursue peace, v'naisin shalom ben ish l're'ehu, and instill peace between man and his fellow man, uvein isha levayla, and between a wife and her husband. Nemar, it says, kol beis Yisrael. All of the Yidden, the entire house of Israel wept for him. Zecharim unekeves, males and females. So there's two questions here that stand out. First of all, if we're talking about Moshe passing away, like when someone passes away, it's a time to talk about all their virtues, like all their amazing milas. It's not a time to compare to somebody else and say, oh, with Moshe, only the men cried. With Aaron, the men and women cried. I mean, it's not a time to put somebody down, even the greatest tzaddik, even one iota. Like, why here? You want to say it, find somewhere else to say it. Like in the pasuk that they're mourning Moshe, you're going to compare it to Aaron and say, oh, with Aaron, also the women cried, and here only the men. Like why now? Like it seems almost inappropriate. And second of all, if Rashi does feel that it's very important to say this, which he obviously does, then why the order is interesting. He could have just said that for Moshe Rabbeinu the males cried, and then right away, and for Aaron, but with Aaron, the men and women cried, and then give the reason why. Why are you putting the reason first? The emphasis, they're making a big deal about the reason that he was Ayev Shalom and Roidev Shalom, that he was so into peace between man and man and between husbands and wives. Like that's the big emphasis.
What about Moshe Dayan?
What I'm saying, you're saying, okay, with Moshe, just the men cried.
But then you're going to Aaron.
Then with Aaron, okay, so that's the first question. Right. Why are you going to Aaron? Now, even if you're going with even if you're going to speak about Aaron, first say who cried. I mean, like let's go in order. By Moshe, the men cried. By Aaron, the men and women cried. Why did the men and women cry? Okay, give your answer.
Stay with Moshe with Aaron, because he was staying with Moshe with Aaron.
Yeah, so when I'm talking about Aaron, why am I preceding the reason?
The men on Moshe.
Why am I saying the reason that they cried was because he was running after peace and everything, and then say who it was that cried. First tell me who cried, and then tell me why. First tell me the fact, and then tell me why. But no, like the order is also showing that that it's kind of like giving away the answer, that it's so important, this peace thing, that even though the order really should be the other way around, it's coming right away as soon as possible, because this is what Rashi wants to highlight, the fact that Aaron was all about making peace between people. So basically, let's talk about Moshe and Aaron. They were both very, very great. Aaron, he was known for peace. What did Aaron do? If there were two people that were in a fight, he would go over to one and say, your friend really wants to make up with you. Then you go to the other one and say, your friend really wants to make up with you. And then each one thinking that the other one wants to make up with them, they would make up. And the same with husband and wife. So in a tiny little way, he kind of deviated a tiny bit from the truth in order to get them to be friends again. That's what Aaron did. Moshe Rabbeinu, he had a different, very, very special trait. Moshe's trait was emes. Emes is truth. And his mission on this earth was to do everything with 100% truth. So Moshe couldn't deviate from the truth even one tiny bit to bring people together. And if there were people that were on such a low level that the only way you can make peace between them is if you deviate from the truth, Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't go that low. And he couldn't get that done because he had to be 100% emes. Everything he had to do, everything that he did had to be 100% emes.
What is it? Wasn't Moshe like the ultimate leader in place?
He was.
If you were a leader, you could address everyone and every problem.
Right? Okay, so it's a great question.
Moshe is a Navi and Aaron is a priest, right? Kohen. There's also something that like the whole thing of being a Navi and the thing what the role of a Navi is, the way, and then what you are as a Kohen, as a priesthood. Like I remember reading this on Yontif about the whole concept of Nevuah and being the same thing. Like one is between it's Nevuah and one is the priesthood in the base of Mikdash, and they go into the base of Mikdash is a different type of like
it's a different
like even like with amongst people, one's like more with the Nevuah from Hashem. Like
absolutely
the same concept. And that's I'm thinking.
It's absolutely it's different directions.
Different direction, like taking like going with people. That's the convado to go in and go into the Ketores and give the offering to the people.
Right.
For Nevuah, and Navi, like Moshe is literally
bringing it down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is all true. This is all we're gonna say. So and also we know that the Kohanim they bless the people, Brochas Kohanim, and also when it came to if someone was tamei, if they got tzaras, the only person that could say that they have tzaras is a kohen. Even if someone is a kohen that is ignorant, that doesn't know anything, only a kohen could say that you need a chacham, a wise person to tell him that this is tzaras, and then he could pass him this is tzaras. But a chacham couldn't give that verdict.
Like a navi can't do that. And the navi,
right?
It's not their thing.
Yeah. So our, so each one had their mission, had their path, and it wasn't the same. So as you're saying, Bela, well, Moshe Rabbeinu, like we expect Moshe to be able to do everything, like you're the leader, you're the shepherd. And the truth is that Moshe loved the Yidden. He loved them, and he provided for all their needs, their physical needs, their spiritual needs. Spiritually, he taught them the Torah. He didn't just teach them the laws. There were some things that were just told to him and to his children, and even though they were like kind of like extra things, he still taught it all to the Yidden. And physically, it was in his merit that the Yidden received the man.
Even like he's the one that cried for the Egel. He really went up and pleaded for us to Hashem, relationship for Hashem.
Yeah, and he said, Hashem, if you destroy them, then destroy me. Then take me out of your book. He did put his life on the line for the Jews, and the Jews had a well of water in the schos of Miriam. They had clouds of glory in the schos of Aaron. But once Miriam and Aaron passed away, the well and the clouds returned in the schos of Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu loved them, and he did provide for all their needs. So we can't say, oh, Aaron loved them more, but it's rather it's a different, it's a little bit of a different path, and we obviously we need both. So Moshe Rabbeinu loved the Jews so much that in the very verse that we're talking about his passing, how the Jews are mourning for his death, because he loved the Jews so much, because he had so much Avas Yisrael, he is giving us one last message. And he's telling us Aharon's Avas Yisrael, the fact that Aharon was able to deviate from the truth in order to get people to make peace. Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, guys, guess what? Learn from Aaron. Because he loves us so much, he's ready to kind of take, to kind of like take the beating, you know what I'm saying? And we're shifting the spotlight from Moshe to Aaron.
Because he was a big Anav also.
He was a very big Anav, but this is like his last will and testament. He's telling us like this. In my lifetime, I had to complete my mission, and I had to do it with the way of MS. That was my mission. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, I reached 49 levels of holiness. We know that there's 50 levels of holiness and 50 levels of impurity. We say that the Jews were on the 49th level of impurity when they were still in Egypt, and the Hashem had to take them out so quickly, they shouldn't sink into the 50th level. Once they hit the 50th level, it would be too late. So Moshe Rabbeinu achieved, with his abilities, with his MS, 49 levels of holiness. But 49 is 7 times 7. 7 is the days of the week. So he completed in a way, according to nature and according to his attribute, he did whatever he could. He completed his mission, his MS mission on this earth. But comes the last day of his life, and where is he going? He's going to Har Nevai. That was the mountain where he went up, and he ascends to the mountain. His entire life was about bringing down Torah. Now he's ascending to the mountain. When Moshe Rabbeinu passes away, his neshama is going to get an elevation, something that he wasn't able to achieve on his own on this earth. And what is he getting? Har Nivai. Nivai is Nun Bai. 50 is in it. He was able to achieve the 50th level of holiness. And at that 50th level of holiness, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to appreciate Aaron's virtue. And he says, guess what, guys? You have a choice between MS and Shalom. You should know, if you have a choice to love a Jew with MS or love a Jew with Shalom, you got to go with Shalom.
Is that like when the Chavis Chaim says that for peace sometimes you have to like override the MS sometimes and you make Shalom, like, between the laws, but like the same thing, like you have to go from the truth, for Shalom.
Right.
Shalom is so huge.
That's what Moshe is saying. Moshe is saying, you want a role model of Ahavas Yisrael? You want a role model on his deathbed, on the last day of his life? He's telling you, Shalom comes first. So he was obviously so humble to be able to, for a person after their whole life, completing their mission, to be able to compare his life and Aaron's life, and to say, you know what? Aaron has something more than I do, even though he was Moshe Rabbeinu. So obviously it takes a lot of humility, and it's emphasized so strongly. We're when they're talking about the mourning for Moshe Rabbeinu, this is where it's inserted, because Shalom is so important. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. I'm going to explain to you why this is so life-changing, okay? We're in Tom's River. This is our 20th high holiday season in Tom's River. And besides for COVID, we were in a hotel every year. We're basically servicing an adult community. So noise and children.
Where you are in the hotel, not you are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you go?
We were in the Days Hotel.
You go now, you see?
But to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Oh, first you go to the hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So the advantage is, A, there's more room, more space, and B, if someone wants to not drive, they have the ability to stay over.
The community, the Chabad community.
Yeah. Yeah. So we like, for sure, until COVID, noise in shul wasn't an issue. The only children that were there were my kids and maybe one or two other families, very, very minimal. And I would keep my kids out of shul, play with them, kids programs for the kids that were there, whatever. Of course, we go for Brochas Kayanim. And I did not bring my kids into shul. But comes Ne'ilah, I would go to shul with my kids. if there was because even the babysitter would come, but she would be busy with the breakfast because we can't prepare before, we can't prepare in advance. So usually the babysitter was usually doing the breakfast. So I usually took the kids with me into Ne'ilah, lollipops, wafers, whatever it is, and that's how it was, and it was always fine. The last year, a few of my siblings, they had brand new babies. My mother had a great idea: let them come to the hotel for Yom Kippur. This way, the husbands are not so far away from their wives, and in case the wives need help, whatever it is. So we had a few more children last year. So maybe we had like 25 kids last year, but this year it doubled, and there's like 50 children. So it's some relatives and other from people that heard about it, that they said it's easier to fast in a hotel with their, that rather than their husbands going to shul for hours on end, and some people are pregnant. Everyone has a different story why they decided to be there. So I went in for Kol Nidre with my kids, and then after Kol Nidre I went out, and the whole Yom Kippur I was not in shul, except for Berchas Kainim, plenty of toys and games and kids programs and everything. And comes Ne'ilah, and I want to go to shul with my kids, right? So I go to shul with my kids, and then my 4-year-old, she said she had left something. So there's 2 ballrooms. There's a ballroom where the services are, and there's a smaller ballroom, which is also quite big, where the kids program was and all the toys are. She had left something in the other room. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go get it for her. I get up, and Ne'ilah already started, and I go to get what my daughter wanted. And I saw these, and so everything that I had brought to use over the day, I basically used except for one thing. There was like these big wooden boards with no pieces, but it's like magnetic, like you could move stuff around, different mazes. So it's not pieces all over the place. There, each one is a board. I had like 6 of them. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take these to the shul to help the kids keep quiet, and I'm going back to the shul. I see so in addition to the 2 ballrooms, there's another room, like a cocktail room. And I see like 4 mothers talking. So something got into me. Oh, and before, as I said, Ne'ilah had already started. So my husband had made a speech before Ne'ilah started, and he dedicated Ne'ilah to Sharon. He told my Yechida Shebenefesh, that the Yechida Shebenefesh is shining, and it was very emotional. And I was like, the Yechida Shebenefesh is shining. And these 4 mothers, it's Ne'ilah, and they're talking in this cocktail room, which is across from the shul, but they can't hear anything that's going on. So I said to them, I was like, I said, it's Ne'ilah. I said, why don't you just come to shul? And if the kids make noise, the kids make noise. It's okay. So I basically invited them into shul. So they came. And what happened was that usually the children are sitting next to their parents. But because I had these wooden games, and I had also had like a big box of like kitchen toys in the front of the show, because I was in the front, all the children gravitated to the front of the show. And it becomes like a playroom, and most of the children didn't even realize where they were. And it's Ne'ilah, okay? My father is davening for the Amud. So my father, they have come every single year for 20 years. And this was so we had another chazan, my brother-in-law, and my brother was a chazan, and this was my father's he was doing Ne'ilah, and I loved hearing my father's Ne'ilah, but his voice is not as strong as my brother-in-law and my brother, and so it was hard. It was a little bit hard to hear, and the kids are in the front of the show, and this is what's going on, and I'm like, this is the story. Fine. After the Ne'ilah, I went over to my father. I said, "Oh, I apologize for the noise." He said, "Hani, I didn't hear anything." He was in his own world, so he wasn't bothered by it. And my husband even said something. He's like, "Ne'ilah, the gates are closing. It's amazing that our prayers are combined with all the noise of the children." Like, he said something very sweet. And my sisters came up to me and they're like, "Oh, we're so happy that we were able to be for Ne'ilah, whatever." Like, the moms were very happy because they got to be there for Ne'ilah. Mm-hmm. Come home, and we're discussing it. And I went to sleep with a little bit of a heavy heart, because I was like, basically the decorum of the shul was a little bit minimized, okay, as a result of all the children being there. And I had two parts of me. I had this like question. I'm like, we want kids. Kids are amazing and wonderful and great. Yet when it comes to shul, we don't want you here. Like you make too much noise.
Because you want the sick, you want to keep it like, right, it's like that too. And we want the colors of the kids, but then this is like,
Right. So what probably should have happened is that these kids should probably have not been there and then just come in at the tail end, just for Shema Yisrael, Baruch Shem, and the Shefer. But I felt a little bit bad because here I was I basically brought the noise, whatever. And I was like, what is the right thing? And then this teaching answered the question. Because there's emes and there's shalom. From a standpoint of emes, from truth, the truth is that yes, the Yechidah Shabnefesh is shining, and every mother and every child should be in Shul Ne'ilah, should be in Shul the whole Yom Kippur, even if they make noise. And that's the truth. But then there's that concept of emes. I'm sorry, concept of shalom. Shalom is that you have to be practical.
other people are saying.
And you have to look at the other people and look at and you have to see the emes is still the emes. The Yechidah Nefesh is shining, and those kids that were in shul, even if they were playing. So the answer is that you have to have a balance. But ultimately, from this teaching, I'm learning that shalom comes before, which would mean that the kids should come. Either the children should sit next to their mothers, so that it shouldn't be like it became like a playground. It shouldn't be all the noise, if each child is sitting next to their mother with a nash bag. You know what I'm saying? So either the parents should sit with their children and explain to the children before that we have to be quiet for a little bit now, and if the children can't, then walk out, whatever. But the children should come for Hashem Elokim, Shema Yisrael, the Shefer, whatever. Because although it's true, it's all true. The Yechidah Shabnefesh, and they should all be there, and why shouldn't the mothers, experience in Kippur, whatever. But you also have to have this shalom piece. Another example, it happened that same day, and basically in every single step of our life, we have this question between this is true, this is real, yet there's also another component, which is shalom. So I'll give you another example. This woman, she lives in a behavioral facility. So she has a place. I'm saying she has a place to live, but she's able to get around. She could take a taxi. She could go wherever she wants. So she calls Erev Yom Kippur, and she said, we know her. So she's not always in her right mind. So she'll call me and she'll say, "Oh, my father's sponsoring the Kiddush this week. I don't know if her father's alive." And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you so much." Whatever. So she calls and she says, "I'm in the hotel. I came to the hotel for Yom Kippur. Please tell the hotel desk that they should give me a room because someone's paying for it or something like that." So, and this is like, we're running and gathering the last few things, and says and so I gave the phone to my husband. I don't know what the exchange was. I pull up to the hotel. We're in two different cars. My husband went before me, and I see. I'm not 100% sure if it was or if it wasn't her. That's the truth. Sometimes people look alike. I don't know. But I see a woman sitting on a bench with a bunch of bags, looking not put together, smoking, and I had to park the car. So she was sitting in front of the hotel. So I let my kids out, and we're talking like, you have half hour left to the fast, and I pulled the car to the other side of the hotel. I parked, I get out, and I forgot. I forgot about her. And then after Ma'ariv, whatever it is, I said to my husband, "Oh my gosh, whatever happened to that lady? She came to the hotel. Maybe she wanted to sleep over. A Jew, the Emma says, a Jew wants to sleep in the hotel for Yom Kippur, not to drive." And she was gone. And I was like, oh my gosh, we didn't help her. So MS says, oh my goodness, you should have just said to her when she called the hotel immediately, tell them I'll pay for the room and finished, not to wait till you come to the hotel to make arrangements, and you lost the opportunity. So MS says, oh, how could you? How could you have let that go? But Shalom, on the other hand, Shalom says, listen, once when you're talking about this type of situation, once you help once, then it becomes a thing, and then there's no end, and then and whatever. So I'm saying you also have to take into account a bigger picture. Sometimes someone wants to come to you for Shabbos, and they're not a safe person, for example. So Emma says they're a Jew. Let them in, whatever. But then you also have the shalom aspect that you have to take into consideration all the people around, and are the other people going to be comfortable, and whatever it is.
We get stuck with that question. That's a common thing, I think.
It's a common thing. It's a common thing because MS is.
Family member that's not well, that's like, could be like drugs or not healthy, and like I had this, and then they have outbursts. They say not appropriate language at the table. Then for their family. And then your innocent kids are sitting here, and where do you say, my brother, he needs a place to go, but then why should my kids have to be exposed to this? My kids, like, this happens all the time.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So there's so many times in our life that we have to make this decision.
But the question is using terminology shalom versus MS. But like, let's say an example Lisa just gave. Let's say, how would you decipher what's MS with Shalom?
Right.
MS is the Jew, and the Jew needs a place to go.
Well, he's
Shalom was
a goodness Shama, and he's plays in Shalom's like, well, my mother gets angry, now politics, the family, it becomes like,
it becomes stressful or whatever.
No Shalom,
Right. So that's why this teaching was so novel to me. It was so novel to me because I'm like. My nature, there's some people are more nature of MS and some people are more nature of Shalom.
Right.
So specifically, in my relationships, so I told my husband what I was thinking. He's like, he laughed. He's like, Hani, you're MS, I'm Shalom, like whatever. So that's why we're meant for each other, because you have to balance each other out. You know what I'm saying? But and it brought back other times. I remember for our 18th anniversary with Chai Adar right after Purim, we went out for dinner. And we were talking, and Purim had just happened, and neither of us were happy with Purim. What happened was the Purim party was supposed to start at 5:00, and it was Purim. I for sure told this to Bela a long time ago, and it was Purim in outer space, and we had all kinds of food, and everything had to relate to outer space, and the meatballs were each thing was something else. I don't know, whatever. And the party was called for 5:00. At 5:00, I was still home taking out the last pan of meatballs from the oven. Mm-hmm. So by the time I got to the hotel, it was like 5:20. Okay. And my husband had bought from Oriental Trading 2 huge boxes full of decorations, and the hotel had an event before our event. So half the decorations didn't get to be up, and I'm with the meatballs and he's with the decorations, and that was it. So my thing is, the main thing is everyone should be full and the food should be good. That's MS. Shalom is I need the decorations and the ambiance and So already then we were, we already figured out our roles then. But the beauty of this teaching is that it could be 100% right, and it's true. It's 100% true. But you have to think: is this going to cause a fight? Is this going to cause shalom? And look at between wife and her husband. If this, you know what the bottom line is? If I invite this person to my table and it's going to cause strife or discord between me and my husband, then shalom is the way. And I didn't realize that until yesterday. I'm so sometimes MS could be like more self-centered. Like you're not thinking about the bigger picture. You're just
say yes to for Tanya husband, so they're inviting like the same. Well, and then you have to ask your husband, Shalom, like maybe he, but it's a mitzvah.
Right, it's a mitzvah, exactly. And so many things. Like I did baby chino for 5 years, and I gave it up, and I feel guilty. Baby Chino is a mess.
What's
To
Baby
have
Chino?
it was a kids mommy and me
Oh,
kids
okay.
program, a huge mess. And my husband was so amazing; he never said a word. But I'm
I always
saying
look for the pictures and I was like, how do you do it?
it was a tremendous
The
tremendous
preparation,
mess.
like getting all this stuff.
Yeah. So that was pure MS to have mothers and children and enjoying themselves and everything. But then, if the house is upside down and it's gonna take, you have to use next 24 hours to clean it up.
It's not.
Then the MS then the MS is MS, but the you're missing the shalom component. So I just, like, for my life, it's really, that I could say, this is MS, this is shalom, and shalom has to come first right now.
But for you, some people, the opposite, they just go for the shalom and then they get put in that. That's like the self.
Right,
So some people like have this challenge where they use that always, well, it's shalom, and then they're not able to go to the emes part. It's opposite, like they focus on it, not healthy, like, well, this has been me, and it's a little bit self. My family wants this, and then they forget about, well, sometimes we have to extend ourselves and give up ourselves, and it's not, right, it's like.
Yeah.
Other
No,
way.
no, obviously it has to be a
Right, down,
balance.
it's like you're-
And if you're all the way one way, then
But I think like with the set, everyone's nature is different. Either people are one or the other. But I think like thinking about these type of decisions is tricky because the truth, MS is according to like Moshe MS me Torah, but then again, you have to think like, why do I want the biggest gift in my house? Is it for an altruistic reason or
Right,
is
is
it
it from,
self-centered? Like, am I doing it because I want to show off or because I'm too, like, if you have to be honest with yourself, what the reason is behind it. I'm thinking like, out
Yeah.
loud, like, if it's because I want to have people so I could show up, or I'm scared to say no because what are they going to think of me? Or like, meaning to say, having, let's say, someone at your table that's not mentally healthiest thing. And even if they're going to say things that your kids shouldn't hear, if you're really doing it from the pureness of your heart, then like, not to say that it's okay for your kids to hear it, but
Right.
the ulterior motive is so real and you're doing it real that like whatever's gonna happen is not gonna necessarily have the damaging effect you think, if it's coming from a good place.
right, so there's.
I don't know, I think for
like-
myself, like cause I also struggle with like, me and my husband are very different ideas. And at the end of the day, there's things that happen that I don't necessarily approve of, or I do like
Okay.
Hashem doesn't want, but that's just because like I'm using that as an excuse, but I don't wanna be around it.
Right, so there's also like with even people at the table, like, there's also having that relationship talking to, right, it's like I have a brother who struggled for years. He was a big in my family, like, he'll come and have outbursts and then, but we all have siblings, we all have this different approaches to it, like I have a sibling who doesn't let him come. And some do, and my kids pick up, but he's not well. And I talk to them about it, he's not 100%, and to me, I look at him more like he's a person, and like, so my kids will see, they'll hear, listen, they're gonna hear it, so they know that this is an unhealthy person, learn, almost like, I'm healthy, and,
It's a learning experience, Tanya always
it's like almost
says
like,
that.
so this is not, people feel bad then, I talk to my kids about it, and it's not appropriate behavior, and, so it's this,
You could use it as a learning
Yeah,
experience.
and then
Tanya always says, people
Yeah.
always remember, you say it
Yeah.
all the time. How do you let your kids are around things and they're exposed
Yeah.
to people
so
doing things?
it's talking to them, be
And
honest with them.
what is the Rebbe said? As long as you're giving, as long as you're pouring,
Yeah.
you're not gonna take in, what was it?
yeah.
Right? As long as you're using the opportunity to be a giver, show your kids even that.
Yeah, I'm opening
You
my house to
are-
this, he's not
right.
healthy, and look, he's not well, and we don't.
You're
like,
impressing the person versus letting them impress
Yeah.
your children with negative
Yeah.
behavior.
it's so interesting, I was just
Right,
talking.
right. Honey has a way- I know
Absolutely.
that's-
Yeah.
I think
How's
it's
that shit up
right.
to? They're
I think-
around
Yeah.
dysfunctional people all
So
day.
even like I was learning in the Chafetz Chaim Sefer, and we're going like 3-4 days ago, and it brought up this point, which I always did, but I would actually like to see it. It was that, let's say a kid comes to your house, your kid's a friend, and comes in, he's a meetus like your kid. You say things inappropriate, so, something like with like a little bit, and like you look thinking like, I don't want this kid around my kid, like his certain personality, like we all had that, and like
Right.
you tell your kid afterwards, lashon hara, like I don't want that kid, like what, So he was saying you could tell your kid to pull a kid aside and say, this is normally lashon hara, but this type of behavior is not okay, and I'm like the way the boy speaks, blah blah blah. So it's interesting because I would say it, but I don't think I said to my daughter, this is normally, like I have to refrain, you have this preference that this is normally lashon hara. I would say, no, our house, we don't do it that way. I would like, but you could tell your kid that.
Well,
You
but
could.
Connie always.
But you
Connie
say
always
them that
says
this is
this.
normal lashon hara.
I know I've even
Yeah.
asked her for advice. Meaning instead of using it in a negative way of relating to her kids, let your kid be trying to say, this behavior, we could behave in a way that Hashem wants to make us proud. Bring it in a positive light.
Right.
But come out, Tanya.
Like,
told me this.
don't say
You
this is
just say, like,
negative. This is not how we know.
Don't talk to about the negative behavior or ever try to reinforce the positive.
Right. So like I'll say,
oh, let's show children how they're supposed to
right,
behave.
you don't usually act this way. You have better meters than that. Like I would not. I would also my daughter say, look, you have such good meters. I wouldn't say, oh, she's such a bad person. I didn't know it. Your friend tells me, but I know has good meters. You act like, like, but
to build your own child.
Right, because she did say that, you are allowed to say it, even like, it's not a paper, as long as you preface, this is going to say, as long as you say them, this is normally Lashon Hara, but now, because of that, same thing you ever get to your table, like you said, like, this is a behavior that we don't normally, it's really,
So we are right, build the positivity, and we're proud to be a Jew, and we speak in ways that are more refined, you don't have to like necessarily put the person down, and that will help children realize what the person is doing is not.
But a lot of people that just go to the MS and don't have, they lock the doors.
Right.
I don't need to have this money, I'm not letting anybody see this, and
but now we're saying that's not necessarily.
So you have to know how to translate MS, and you have to understand how to translate Shalom. You have to understand. Absolutely, you could say, listen, MS, I don't want my kids to be exposed to anything, and therefore, but so Shalom might mean that I have to look at the bigger picture, and yes, invite people that are not exactly like me to my table. So I'm saying, but this concept of something could be 100% true. It is 100% true, but when I'm making a decision, when I'm making a life decision or any kind of decision, I also have to take into account the effect that it's going to have on other people. And sometimes sometimes I have to worry about other people that are not my family to bring them closer to Yiddishkeit, even if my children will see something, because you have to really have a mashpia. You have to have someone that you could ask.
When I do dress on sneers, right? So let's say in New York, when you bring them a car, some people won't have them at their tables. No discussion.
So MS could, so in each situation,
to tell you that it's not.
Right, they say, well, I'm not having my table, someone that just
but there
dresses
is
in
there is a way that you do it, and you make a bracha, you turn around. It's not the only, and like you said, everyone in their circumstances, their atmosphere.
I'm saying there's some people that won't even like because it's just a certain.
Right. So for everyone, MS could be something else.
Right.
What's your truth? What's your belief system? What are your values? And everyone I'm saying we're all from, and we're all, but it's
a very fine line, though. You see, the reason it's a very fine line. You're saying it's more of a personal. The question is how, on a personal, individual level, based on the way each one of us are made up and our relationship with our spouse and
our families,
and our families. When do you know that if it's shalom or emes? That's like. Sometimes you don't know answer.
Sometimes you have to ask mashpia. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying if these it's a fine line. It's a very fine line. But ultimately, if this is my truth, this is my truth. This is my values. I'm so strong with this opinion, and sometimes I'm so I forget to look outside of my box. There's a word called flexible. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to step out of your box for a second and look at it from someone else's perspective. Like comes to naming a child. You want to name your child for this name, and you don't even like you're not even thinking about what your husband's opinion is. You know what I'm saying? Like this is so I'm saying that the ability to say, listen, maybe I would, if I could choose any name, I maybe would choose something else. But I know that this name means so much to my spouse, So to be able to, I saw it with Mushka and Uziel. They had a brand new baby, and it's 5 minutes before the bris. And Mushka comes to me, Mommy, we don't have a name yet. I'm like, Mushka, I was like, Mushka, like you're coming to me now. Like, what do you want me to do right now? You know what I'm saying? Like you had 8 days, you had a whole pregnancy, whatever. So Mushka wanted Menachem Mendel, and Uziel wanted a family name, but they each wanted to make the other person happy, so they couldn't make a decision. And I don't know. whatever. They went into the bris without knowing. I don't know what they did, but they named him Nachamanu. But I saw Uziel's eyes when he whispered, the name to the male, and the male announced name. I saw the eye contact between them. It was like so precious because it was
giving what she wants, like for her.
It was amazing. It was so special. But it's the ability a person can say, "This is what I want, and I can't even. This is my truth. I want a name for this family member, and I can't take anyone else into consideration." And then there's this is my truth, but Shalom, look around the people around you. How is this going to affect the people around you? I don't know. To me, it was like very eye-opening.
It is. It's very eye-opening to realize like it's just not.
And sometimes I say this is my truth, because sometimes the ulterior motive is that I just want to be good. You know what I'm saying? I want to be good. I want to do the right thing. And you don't even realize that I want to be good is already an ulterior motive. You don't even realize that because you're so righteous. How does this connect to Tanya? So in Tanya, we have a truth. We have emes and we have shalom in Tanya, chapter 33. So everything's a shkach pratis, right? What's the emes? What's the truth? Up until now, the first 25 chapters of Tanya was an entire system for how to serve Hashem. Comes chapter 26 through 34, with a break of 32, which is about Avos Yisrael. And those chapters, I should say 26 to 31. Let's say 26 to 31. 26 to 31 is troubleshooting. What happens is, if it's not working for you, the system that the Alter Rebbe gave you, it's because you're not happy. Why are you not happy? Either because you have material problems, or you have spiritual problems, or you can't concentrate when you daven, or you have apathy, or what and each chapter addresses another emotional state that is hindering you, that's blocking you, bothering you from being happy, and therefore you can't serve Hashem properly. So it's helping you troubleshoot all these different feelings, negative feelings that we have. And we ended 31 saying that we're kind of bashing our animal soul and our how could, and we're kind of like bashing and breaking the animal soul and the Yetzer Hara, and we end off in saying my real identity is my neshama, and I have to take pity on my neshama, and my neshama is a princess coming from Hashem's palace, and I have to give my neshama as many opportunities as I can to feel like it's a princess. That's how we ended 31. 32 came around and said, well, now that I know that I'm a princess, to look at the true, real me, my true identity, now look at the true identity of every single Jew, and that's how you love every single Jew, by looking at them through their soul versus looking at them through their body. That was 32. Then we have 33 and 34. 33 and 34 start talking about making a dwelling place for Hashem. And it continues, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Now, 33 and 34 are different than 35, 36, and 37, because 33 and 34 is the ideology of it. And it's to tell you that you should be, because remember, it's all about like to bring back the joy. So 33 and 34 is, it's not that there's a problem of sadness or bitterness that we have to deal with. Here, it's proactive. So you be joyous because you have the opportunity to make a dwelling place for Hashem in this world. And then 35, 36, 37 is going to tell you practically the importance of action. So we're holding 33. So the point is that you should be happy. You should be full of joy because you have the opportunity to make this world into a dwelling place for Hashem. And it starts off and it says like this. What is this world? You want to know the truth? You know what this world is? Two examples. One example is when I say one word, But even if I think one word, because the word, before I say it, it's in my thought. Imagine one word that I say or that's still in my thought, I didn't even say it yet. Try to compare that one word to my identity, to my essence. Is there any comparison? It's not that one word is that I'm so much greater than my one word. You don't.
Like, what's an example, like a word that would be your identity?
No. So I'm saying there's no comparison. It's completely.
Right.
You're talking. It's not apples and oranges. It's completely. There's no comparison between my essence and one word that's going to come out of my mouth, or one word that I'm thinking to say. So this entire universe is like what for Hashem? It's like comparing Hashem's essence to one word that Hashem says. That's how insignificant this world is. That's how nothing this world is. That just like you can't compare one word to your essence, this whole entire world is like one word compared to Hashem's essence.
No essence to him.
It means that this world has, from a perspective of MS, from a heavenly godly perspective, from God's perspective, this world is basically nothing compared to Hashem's essence, compared to who Hashem is. We're so insignificant.
Okay.
From a godly heavenly from a heavenly perspective. Forget about godly. From a heavenly perspective.
This world represents these, like the God, the materialist of the world, the material world,
this physical world.
Physical world.
Yeah. But all I'm saying, everything that Hashem created. How did Hashem create? Hashem created with words. How many words did it take to create the world? You know what I'm saying? Like we talk. The amount of sentences that it took Hashem to create the world, we say in 60 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like this from an MS perspective, this world is basically insignificant compared to Hashem, right? So, and I'll give you another example, which might be easier to understand. You have the sun and the sun's rays. So it's a beautiful hot day, and you see a ray of sun. Okay, now, if you're to take this ray and to label it, Chani's ray, and you want to trace it back to the sun. Now, this ray is so brilliant and beautiful and warm, right? So probably if I trace this ray back to the sun, the closer I get to the sun, the brighter and greater it will be. But guess what? If I name this ray and I follow it and I take a spaceship and I go all the way up to the sun, when I get to the sun, the ray does not exist. Right. The rays don't exist in the sun. The rays are just coming out of the sun. Their whole mitzias, their whole identity is the sun. If the sun goes away, there are no rays. There are no rays. The ray is not even in the sun. It's not like if I go into the sun, there are so many rays that I can't find my own. Because, it's like, where is Waldo? Or I lost my kid in the amusement park. I can't find him because there's so many other kids. It's not that you can't find your ray because there's so many other rays in the sun. There are no rays in the sun.
It's the actual essence of the sun is the ray, is the sun.
So the ray is an emanation that comes from the sun. So someone said it in the class, Rabbi Shei's Taub's class, which is also an interesting example. If you have a projector, so I turn on the projector and I could see a whole video. The second you press off, where's the picture? It's gone. It's so real. It looks so real. But it only could exist
from the machine
because of the projector. The second you take the projector away, the picture is gone. So from an MS perspective, what is this world? This entire world. So really, nothing has its own identity because we're all completely dependent every instant. We can't exist without Hashem, just like a ray can't exist without a sun. Just like the picture on the wall can't exist without the projector, just like the word can't exist without the person. So we're basically, from an MS perspective, like, what are we anyway? You know what I'm saying? So like, it's like almost depressing.
I was gonna say, like, so why did like every mitzvah? You could say like, oh, then what do I do? Why do I count so much? Like, Hashem got so many other.
Right.
We're like nothing. compared to us.
We're basically nothing. We're basically nothing. Hashem has to recreate us every single second in order for us to exist. We don't have our own identity. Nothing in this world. So, but on the other hand, it can make us feel joyful that there's nothing in this world that could hurt me or could harm me, because everything is just an emanation from Hashem, and if I have money, I'm debating, should I give it to tzedakah or should I not? Should I give it to tzedakah or should I not? When you have this perspective, you're like, hey, this dollar exists here just because Hashem is making it exist. So I'm here to do a mitzvah, and Hashem can, just like He made that dollar come my way, another dollar could come my way. Like it could actually bring you to great joy to know that that Hashem is in charge of everything, and we have nothing to worry about. And that is the truth. That is the truth. That's emes. And that is a perspective of, you look at, so there obviously is the joy part of it, but if you're looking at it from if you could look at it from a perspective and say, before you hit the joy part, oh, this world is so low. And Moshe Rabbeinu, what does he have to do? He has to bring down the Torah to this world to save the world, because this world has no has no virtue of its own. So we need the Torah we need to bring down the Torah to basically try to give some value to this world. And that's Moshe's perspective. That's Emma's perspective. The truth is that we're nothing, and we're insignificant, and we're just a ray. And we have no, basically, Hashem's in control of anything. We basically have no power from Emma's perspective. But it doesn't end there. Then comes the Shalom perspective. Aharon. Moshe is all about bringing down the Torah, and taking what's up there and bringing it down here, bringing everything down. That's the Emma's perspective. And as we see in Tanya chapter 33, that how low and insignificant this world can be if we look at it from an Emma's perspective. But then there's the Shalom perspective. There's the Aaron perspective. What was Aaron all about? What was Aaron's job? He would light the menorah, and he would light the candle until the flame will be able to rise up on its own. And a flame is always reaching upward to go to its source. So it would say, the word it's not to kindle the flames. The word has the word aliyah, has the word elevation. He would stand there he would stand there and light it until it was able to rise up on its. Means to rise up. The candle flame should be able to rise up on its own. So Aaron is all about taking what's down here and elevating everything up to go upwards. Aaron is, we said, different directions. Moshe is bringing down, and Aaron is bringing up. The Shalom says it's true. We might be insignificant. We might just be a ray, but Shalom says that we could make peace between heaven and earth. How? By making a dwelling place for Hashem down here. Because the truth is that, really from a logical perspective, from an Emes perspective, like how does my mitzvah really matter? But Aaron comes and Aaron says, it's true, it's all true, it's all good. But Hashem's deepest desire is to have a dwelling place in this physical world. Does that make sense logically? I don't think so. But that's Hashem's desire. And we can, despite the fact that we're just a ray, we can elevate this physical world. And Aaron sees the potential in the world. He sees the beauty in the world. He says, this world is not nothing. He says, we have to elevate the world. We have to make peace between people, to elevate the people, to elevate the world, to make a dwelling place for Hashem. And ultimately, although emes is true, shalom precedes it. Shalom comes first. So yes, I'm a ray, but there's something. But Moshe is telling you. Moshe is telling you that shalom comes first. The fact that sometimes we have to put the emes aside, and say, you know what, that's all true. But Hashem has a deeper desire. Hashem has a deeper desire than the truth. And that is that we should make peace between people. We should make peace in the world, and we should make peace between heaven and earth. You should take the physical thing, this physical object that you could say, oh, it's just a ray, it's nothing. And say, no, I'm going to take this physical object, I'm going to take this esrog, I'm going to take this lulav, I'm going to take this wood, I'm going to build a sukkah, and I'm going to elevate it. I'm uniting heaven and earth. I'm making peace between heaven and earth. This physical thing that you say is non-existent and is nothing. I'm going to show you how it is, how we can use it to and make it holy. This concept of making peace between a piece of wood and God, this is Aaron's task. And that precedes, that comes first, that is greater than, that is the 50th level. That is the 50th level. That is Aaron. That is Moshe reaching a higher level than emes. And he's saying, and he's saying the highest level is shalom.
Just bringing the material and the spiritual.
It's all about peace, and peace can be between people. Peace can be between the husband and wife. Peace can be between the lulav and the esrog and the wood and the schach and Hashem. Because from a heavenly perspective, the piece of wood is irrelevant. But if you use it, if you make peace, if you use it, and you say
peace also means bringing the physical world, elevating.
Absolutely. When
they were, because they only had the emes part, they only did it in the spiritual world. They didn't bring the other part.
Right.
But there were too much in the
exactly.
The emes.
So emes is, I want to connect to Hashem and leave me alone. Right. This world is nothing.
But it needs to be put together.
But I'm developing the concept while I'm trying to develop the concept while we're talking. I'm trying to make sense out of it. But this is why it's so. Why this teaching is so. Wherever that phone is.
Wow.
That's why it's so.
This is very powerful. Wow. Also, people think sit and learn Torah is like, I want to just sit and learn Torah. It's the most holy thing to do. But Moshe, who gave us the Torah, is saying, as holy as it is something even holier, and that's making shalom, bringing peace into this world, taking the physical world and elevating it and serving Hashem, and in Ahavas Yisrael. And
that's what the concept, like you're saying, is that Hashem gave us this world to elevate it to this, to bring it to this together. The shalom is two things together. Shalom,
bringing two opposites together. That's
spiritual and material, and elevating it for.
Wow, it was a beautiful connection.
And that's why when you talk about all these conflicts, it's like, how do we take this more, other side? It's like, doesn't seem emes, but it's like the physical other stuff. But
I think it's the point is that when we're doing it as a mitzvah,
right.
That's the ulterior motive. Are we doing whatever it is that might not be according to emes?
Right.
Because it's a mitzvah, or because of what's his self.
We're doing it to elevate Hashem, do what Hashem wants.
Right, but what does Hashem want?
Right.
We bring Hashem into the picture. When we make that decision, is it because that's what Hashem would want, or it's because what I want?
Right.
And it could be, I think that is a very helpful tool to understand how to elevate things.
Because I usually don't do this, but because I just came with my heart, without any notes or books, whatever. I'm just going to read the poem that I wrote yesterday.
You wrote it already, okay.
Yeah, I wrote it yesterday. And just to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. Okay. Something's wrong. Give me a second. I'm just going to go to.
Well,
WhatsApp.
You have a poem on it, okay.
Yeah, that's I'm saying. As soon as I sent this poem to my daughter to make the video, that is when my brochah came.
Yeah.
So, okay, here we go. Okay, when Moshe passed away, the Torah does say that only the men were weeping, but both the men and the women wept with Aaron's passing.
Hold on, so
Okay.
can I ask you why,
Yeah.
I'm saying why only the men?
Okay, so you see, I already left out stuff.
Oh.
Okay, so I only told you that there are two reasons. Okay, so one reason that we spoke about why the men and the women cried because of Aaron, because they were like, oh no, who's going to make peace between us now? It was very personal, right? So that was so that's the reason that puts Moshe in not the best light. But there's another reason that comes first that I omitted by mistake. So I'll say it now, and that is that why did the men only cry? When Aaron passed away, the Yidden had Moshe, and because of their reverence for Moshe, they cried because it was his brother that passed away. And Moshe was such an amazing leader that he was able to stir in them the emotion that that everybody cried, because they saw how much it affected Moshe. Like when the Rebbe Simchai Moshka passed away, the Rebbe's wife passed away. So she was very, very private. Most people never even met her or saw her. But when you saw the Rebbe's love for how much respect he had for her, then all of a sudden she became, it became a big deal. Like her yard site became a big deal, even though she was so private. So when you have the leader of the Jewish people, let's say there are many stories. Like there was a person that passed away and he was like a miser or whatever it was, and the rabbi of the town came out to the funeral. Now everyone came out, and then really ended up being that he was really not a miser. He really gave tzedakah in secret. So when you see the leader, so emotional, then you realize, hey, this is a real tragedy, and it stirs everyone's soul. So it's a praise to Moshe. So first is a praise to Moshe. To explain the difference, there are explanations too. There's two explanations for why they cried, why the men cried for only the men cried for Moshe, and the men and women cried for Aaron. So one, when Aaron passed away, everyone cried out of respect for Moshe Rabbeinu. But when Moshe passed away, there was no one on Moshe's level to inspire the Yidden to cry in the same way. So that's the first reason. Number two, the Yidden cried because they would miss Aaron, who would always run to make peace between everyone. When necessary, the truth he would even change so that peace he could arrange. If there was a fight between two friends, he would tell each one that the other wanted to make amends. He also ended strife between husband and wife. The first explanation shows that like Moshe, there was no other. But the second shows that in making peace, he wasn't as perfect as his brother. At the time of Moshe's passing, why does the Torah find it necessary to tell that in pursuing peace, like Aaron, Moshe didn't excel? This is the time that you have to tell us. Of course, the Yidden Moshe did love. He taught them Torah, and in his merit, the Yidden received the man from above. The well and the clouds of glory departed after Miriam and Aaron passed away, but they returned in Moshe's merit without delay. So Moshe loved them. And you say, oh, Aaron loved them, the Moshe didn't. Chas v'shalom, Moshe loved them. The answer is that Moshe and Aaron were both so great. Aaron was known for shalom, but Moshe had a different, unique trait. Moshe is known for emes, and therefore, he couldn't lower himself to such a state that the only way he could make peace is if, from the truth, he would deviate. During Moshe's life, his mission was to act constantly with the trait of truth only. 49 levels of holiness he did complete with his nature, but with his passing on Har Nevo, he would reach a level much higher. The explanation of Har Nevo is Nun Bo. There are 50 in it. He rose to the 50th gate, and at last, Aaron's virtue of truth he was able to fully appreciate. Until then, to an attendant of the king, Moshe did compare. He was limited to drawing Torah down here. But because of his Avos Yisrael, the last lesson that Moshe did teach is that to Aaron's level of Avos Yisrael we must reach. To an attendant of the queen, Aaron did compare. His role was to lift up every Jew with love and care. It's the masculine and the feminine. And also, I was having this discussion with my husband when we were talking about the Elah and the whole thing. I was like, it's not fair that the woman shouldn't be able to be in the shul, la la la. And my husband's like, honey, if a woman has to realize that when she's taking care of her children, even by Ne'ilah, That is no, don't feel like the second class citizen. Oh, I can't be in shul, it's not fair. But rather you're doing the most the holiest thing. That even during the Ela, you're taking care of your kids. That is like if we don't have that appreciation, then we're seeing it wrong. We have to realize that it's holier, right, to be taking care of your children than in Ela and be home than to be in shul. This, unfortunately the rest, things seep in from other influences that you feel like, oh, I have to feel in a shul in order to be inspired. And sometimes we forget that it might look more glamorous, it might look more spiritual to be sitting in a shul, but yet that's more of a masculine energy. The masculine is about bringing down, the feminine is about bringing up. Moshe is intended of the queen, Aaron is a king, Aaron is intended of the queen. I mean, I can't explain to you all this kabbalistically, but there's a concept of the malchus. The malchus is the lowest one. Malchus is kingship, but I'm saying in the attributes. But malchus is referred to as feminine. So we have to be women and be proud of it and celebrate it, instead of saying, oh, I wish I could be in shul. Like, it's not fair that I can't, be in shul. We have to realize that taking care of the children, and that is the greatest thing. Just like MS and Shalom, you think, oh, MS is greater, and no, but the fact that the children are playing peacefully, right, and the shul is running smoothly, that it's all about peace. It's all about peace. It's not just about what is true and ideally. It's the practical side of things. The shalom is the 50th level. Just like Aaron lit the menorah until on its own each flame rose and shone, so too he uplifted every Jewish soul. To help each Jew ascend to their root and source was Aaron's goal. There was no Jew that was too low for Aaron. Aaron was even able to go to the Jews that the only way you can make peace between them is if you deviate from the truth. And Moshe is saying, Aaron supersedes me. He's even greater than me, that he was able to even deviate from the truth. And Moshe appreciated it and on the day of his death. That Moshe even is able to say, you know what? There's that Aaron is even greater, to be that no Jew should be left behind, and that every single Jew, no matter how far they're down, no Jew is too low. Reminds me, the Rebbe said, there's a whole story. The Rebbe said there's no such thing as a small Jew. But the whole story.
Oh
yeah.
Gosh, it's crazy.
Amazing story. I'll just say very, very quickly, there was I don't remember the name of the country, Curacao.
Funny name, let's see, in the Netherlands. It's like a small little island in the Netherlands.
And there was a boy, so over there in that place, there was no Jewish school. All the kids went to the same school. And everything was fine. And they respected the Jewish kids and they didn't make them pray with the Christians or anything like that. But then came a new principal and they decided, no, the Jews have to be like everybody else. And there was one 14-year-old boy who wasn't so agreeable. And the principal bullied him and got the other kids to bully him because he was Jewish. Came to the point that the kid skipped school because he couldn't handle the bullying. After 2 weeks, the administration came to the father and said, your kid hasn't been in school. What's going on? So he said, oh, I had no idea. So he confronted his kid. His kid said, listen, I can't tolerate the bullying. There's no way I could do this. So his father said, listen, if you don't go to school, you have to come to work. He said, listen, I'd rather go work. But everyone was upset with him. The Jewish, the Jewish community was upset with him. Why are you stirring trouble? Why are you making trouble? And he didn't know what to do. The father didn't know what to do. So one day he had a dream, and in his dream, his grandmother comes to him in a dream, and he sees himself as a young child sitting on his grandmother's lap. His grandmother says, if you ever have a problem, reach out to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So he goes to the shul, and he goes to Aron Kodesh, and he prays to Hashem, and he says, listen, please, Lubavitcher Rebbe, please help me. I don't know what to do with my son. He sees his son in so much pain. Sometimes your child's pain is even worse than your own pain. At that time, 3 a.m., Rabbi Moshe Kozlarsky gets a phone call from the Rebbe's secretary. And the Rebbe's secretary says, did you wash Negavasser yet? That was code for the Rebbe's on the other line. Quickly washes Negavasser. And the secretary says, the Rebbe wants you to go to this place, Kudasal.
I'm so confused. Where was he calling from?
But this is another.
Who's calling? I'm so confused the story. Who called the Rebbe?
The Rebbe was on the line, but his secretary called Rabbi Moshe Kotlarski.
Who is that?
He's
in charge of like emissaries.
Yeah, he's in charge
of
of the shluchim, like sending the shluchim to different places. And this was a long time ago. He was like in his 30s. He called him, tell him, go to this place in the Netherlands.
He told him to go.
He didn't say any.
Yes,
without any information, just go there. And he said, go take someone.
Knew there's a boy there.
No, the Moshe Kolarski didn't know.
The Rebbe.
Oh, the Rebbe must have known. Yeah, the Rebbe knew.
He got his message to go to the Netherlands.
Just go. And the message was also go to bring a bacher, to bring a yeshiva student with him as well. So Moshe Kolarski and the yeshiva student go to this place, and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They didn't get any further instructions. So they tell a taxi to take us to the shul. There were two shuls. One was a big shul that everyone knew about, and one was a small little shul. For some reason, the taxi driver didn't know about the big shul, which everyone knew about. All tourists knew about that. Took him to the small shul. When Moshe Kolarski and the yeshiva are walking into the small shul, and they see a guy walking out. They said, so they said to him, could you help us? They said to him, maybe you could help us out. We're here on a mission from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So the guy says, oh, you came here for me. And he tells him the whole story about his son. So Rabbi Moshe Kolarski and the yeshiva boy, who was, closer in age to the 14-year-old boy, they spoke to him and they got him to go to summer camp, to Gan Yisrael camp, and then to yeshiva. And then the father was so happy. The father wrote a letter to the Rebbe and said, "Thank you for helping a small Jew far away in this place." And the Rebbe wrote back, "I take issue with what you say, a small Jew. There's no such thing as a small Jew." And the end of the story is that this 14-year-old boy, his daughter, ended up marrying Rabbi Shais Taub's son this year in Tammuz.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was the end of the story.
Yeah. He said, so his tale ends up and says, the Rebbe helped me personally 40 years ago. Like, this my grandchild is from today, and it's my daughter-in-law, or this child.
Yeah.
From the Rebbe foresaw 40-something years ago.
He would have been like Netherlands, who knows?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the story continues. So they got engaged like Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, and Gimel Tammuz, Rabbi Shais Taub is speaking in the 5 towns, and his future daughter-in-law is sitting in the crowd. So after
he says over the story very emotionally. Then I heard it then. It's unbelievable.
Really?
If you guys, it's unbelievable to hear him say it then.
What did you say the story over?
There was like a Gimel Tammuz get together in 5 towns, and I heard it the first time. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Whatever, it's personal. Yeah.
So he says to his daughter-in-law, "Oh, so like how was the speech, whatever." So she says, you really spoke to my heart." And he said, basically, Rabbi Shais Taub's point was, there's no such thing as a small Jew, and you could do more than you think you could do. You have so much potential. And she says to him, the shlucha in the 5 towns asked me if I could be the head counselor of the preschool division over the summer. I was thinking to myself, what am I crazy? I'm engaged. I have to get ready for my wedding. I need to be a head counselor of the preschool division. That's so much work. But she said, because of your speech, there's no such thing as a small Jew. I'm going to take the job. To be able to extend yourself, you know that you have potential, and you should see yourself how Hashem sees you.
It's not a small job. It's she was looked at this like a small job.
No. She looked at it like, I can't do this. Like, leave me alone. It's too much for me.
Right.
But she did it because there's no such thing as a small Jew. You are you have infinite power. So that was the story from that there's no such thing as a small Jew. And the Rebbe saw that. But all I could say is our Rebbe is a Moshe and Aaron. What else could I say? Okay, so I'm just going to one more paragraph. MS says that the world is in a low state. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu's mission was to bring down the Torah so great. But Shalom says that we have the ability to make peace between earth and heaven. Therefore, making peace to elevate people and the world was Aaron's mission. So in Moshe's times, there was a Moshe and an Aaron. So now we have one Moshe that's a Moshe and Aaron combined together that was able to do both, to love every, because we know the Rebbe loved every Jew and there was no one that was too low. But this concept of whatever your truth is, before you go for it, have the flexibility to look at the people around you and ask yourself, how is this going to affect everybody else? Like one more tiny example. So this week, I said that the two teachings for Project of the Sichos were both Tanya. I could have said to myself, MS says, these are the two teachings for this week. Take one and do it. It's hard work. It's about Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, or Hashem's names. This is MS. This is what you have to do this week. But Shalom said, listen, Sukkot is coming. If I'm going to be busy with I have to cook for, cook and clean and be with my family. So if I skip 1 week and then that means Shalom, that you don't just say, oh, this is the right thing. This is the teaching that I have to learn, and that's it. That's only looking at MS. And Shalom is some of my children are in yeshiva all year or for many months at a time, and I don't get to see them. This is family time. So it's okay if I skip 1 week and I do an easier sicha. You know what I'm saying? That go ahead 1 week, because that is Shalom. That you take into account the people around you, your surroundings, and have a little bit of a flexibility. Yes, this is MS, but there's got to be a balance. You have to have a balance, and ultimately, Shalom wins. Okay. Okay, oh my gosh, it's so late. Okay.